I need your.
Okay, I'll tell you what, this is very much an honor for the three of us here to be able to join the Communicators Network this morning. I left my notes for my intro out in the car here, so we're going to wing it here a little bit. But what we'd like to do is the three of us have been very involved over the last decade, at least for us, I think, in video in a lot of different ways in our work and to try to, first of all, communicate science, to try to connect better with people, and lastly, to, I think it's fair to say, inspire change in a lot of different ways. So we have been in the trenches with video production and trying to hone our skills over the last number of years. And I am very honored personally to have with me two outstanding and utterly creative people. First of all, Dr. Eric Brennan is with the USDA ARS right near where I am here over in Salinas. He's a research horticulturist in organic systems and it really has done not only a lot of great research there, but a lot of tremendous work in video. Douglas Gayeton is, as you can see on the first slide here, what I would call the creative leader of the Lexicon of Sustainability. And he might talk a little bit more about that, but truly an inspiring person, get things done person who has used video to great effect in their own work at the Lexicon there. And also he has led the Regen 1 effort. It's going to scale up regenerative ag systems in Northern California in the near future. So what we'd like to do is just one after the other. I'll start off and then Eric and then Douglas will wrap things up. And we hope to finish by about 10:40 or so right now, and then open this up for raw, pure discussion, because that's going to be the important thing there. So with that, we'll go ahead here now. About 10 years ago as well, some of you may have seen these books and read them for that matter, but Randy Olson really got a lot of attention early on about the importance of connecting with people and communicating science in ways that go above the usual research, peer-reviewed and publication kinds of things that we do, as well even as the in-person kinds of connections that we have, particularly in USDA ARS. And all of that is very valuable and everything, but the point is that there may be other ways to connect with people. And in the course of these last 10 or so years, there have been other books and calls or cries for engaging with people and our audience and the people that we do want to connect with that have come up there. And even within the national extension arena, some of you might know this NAED PSDP here, but they too are talking now about digital connecting, storytelling, and some of the benefits I think of these kinds of things are shown on the list on the periphery of what I'm showing here. So this kind of stuff caught my attention and I thought there was some value in it. In our own program within our A&R, we've had about 4 different phases of the development and use of videos that are shown here. Because much of what we did early on was pretty brand new in California with the conservation ag stuff, we had to introduce the basic concepts. And how do you do that? Well, we used videos to introduce them to farmers and different audiences. I've done, the second thing there is ongoing topical videos that are just related to some of the work that we do with farmers. Our next phase was actually a whole series of about 27 videos that we did to students at the universities that teach vegetable crops in California. And then ongoing item 4 there, and this is what Eric really does a lot of, is more focused research related science communication. And that's what so let me just give you an example. When we started off in our work group here, we actually, took great pains, and I'm gonna try to connect these, the links here, to show the A&R website, but we actually did quite a bit of, early development work. And this is, now kind of old here now, 6 or 10 years ago, but, we created a series of videos that introduce the concepts and the topics that we wanted to bring to California farmers related to conservation agriculture. So that was one thing that we did early on there. And let me see if I can get back out of this now. This is where I get confused a little bit here. I got it. That was one effort there, the first phase. Then what I'm calling here, well, all right, let me go back here. Also, another thing that we tried to do was just relevant farm videos. And this particular one here has to do with something about conservation, agriculture, and cotton systems. And I bring this up to you to show you, first of all, not only the fact that it's received 14,000 views, which caught me off guard. I didn't really know that. But down here, if you look and you follow some of the comments, well, I'm having, let's see here. I can't get down to here. You know, people have actually from literally around the world have written comments back to us here, and some of them as recently as just this morning. And some of it is, you know, pretty earnest appreciation for the work that's been done there. So that's just connecting farm studies that we've done there. The third thing, the next thing that I've done here is creating a series of videos about production systems for students at the UC Davis, and also, boy, am I having a hard time here. Let's see, Cal Poly, Fresno State, and Chico State there. And this series of videos was largely for undergraduate and graduate students at universities. But I show this here, this particular one here, lo and behold, this video over just 2 years has had 111,000 views on it. So it is creating quite an astonishing impact out there just in an hour video. I'll move on to some of the teaching work here. And this is down at Arizona State. There's actually a professor, Peter Bick, that is teaching a course now on video communication, sustainable storytelling. And I think that there are, you know, examples like this that are going to start coming up here. Because I teach every fall at UC Davis, I once went to a 10-week workshop about hybrid teaching and everything. And one of the professors at this thing once said, I remember her words, "Our job is also to inspire students." And I really took heart by that expression, because in some way I really try to do that myself and inspire the next generation of workers and learners. And I think video is one of the ways that we can use to do this. Now, I don't know exactly how Eric and Douglas work on theirs, but there's a lot of work in these videos. And I'll just show you some of the examples. You know, you lay out the script, you lay out the topic ideas, you try to match footage and clips with that. And this is all common sense kind of stuff, but it takes a fair amount of time. And in addition to that, in order to capture the various clips or the footage, you know, you've got to be out in the field. You've got to be savvy to the timing of different operations to get all these things. And it's not a trivial endeavor to be able to capture the footage that you think might contribute to the relevance of the video. Not only the footage of those kind of machinery things, but the capturing video of different people as well. So let me move down here. So all that takes time is my point. One of the things that I've tried to do, and then I'll turn it over to Eric now, is try to inspire a little bit of the use of video in the classes that I teach. So up until the last couple of years, we've actually assigned different projects in small groups that students themselves would come up at the end of the quarter with a video product. And I take time and deliberate effort to give them heads up and training about what to try to pay attention to when they capture their videos. We learn a little bit about this from private sector folks who have helped me along the way. We learn a little bit about equipment, even in a production class here. And then at the very end of the quarter, the students in their small groups will share their videos and talk about them with outside reviewers. And we bring in people from the real world out there to look at and give comments on our videos. And it's been kind of a very useful learning experience. So I'm going to stop there, and I'm going to like to move it on with Eric. You want to share a little bit of your experience with video?
Yeah, sounds great. Let me, so I need to be able to share my screen, Jeff.
Okay, so let me go ahead and, all right, I think you should be, all right, I'll get you. There you go.
Okay,
Okay,
let me try it now. Oh, there we go. Okay.
all right.
Um,
And thanks all of you in A&R Network here for bearing with us this morning.
okay, so can you all see my screen there?
Yes.
Okay, and I'm just gonna, are you able to see my mouse?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, let me quickly turn on my little pointer thing so that I can get my laser pointer. All right, so thank you very much for giving me the chance to be part of this group. It sounds like a great group of people, and uh, it's exciting for me because I'm passionate about science communication. I'm also passionate about my research, but I want to, you know, Jeff gave he gave me some ideas for a title in his description. You know, why is video important? Well, for me, it's about connecting my science to people and helping to inspire change. And as an ag scientist, if I do research and it doesn't affect change, I've basically failed. Okay, so I want to take you a little bit, I'm going to take you on a bit of a journey to kind of give you a sense of where it started for me. So the picture that you see here is from Papua New Guinea. That's where I grew up. I grew up in the Anga culture. I don't look like the people in this picture, but as a little kid running around, I was often dressed up in a different outfit. All right. Now, the man shown here in this picture is the same individual as who's pointing at the picture several decades later. My dad worked in anthropology and linguistics in Papua New Guinea, and he was really the one that showed me the power of using visual images to tell a story. And when I was a kid, I loved listening to his stories. And this is a picture of my dad and the same person in this picture in 2009 when I returned with him to rededicate the opening of this cultural center or this museum in the highlands of Papua New Guinea. And it was, you know, pictures just, there's a lot there. You can see the energy, you can see the excitement. We don't have to say very much about it. So, you know, when I became a Peace Corps volunteer in Thailand several years later after I'd moved to the US and got an American accent and all these things, one of the first things I did was I took a camera with me. And that camera helped me to capture pictures like, you know, this is back in the late 80s with my friend Gausi Kong, who's a farmer who inspired me and helped me understand a lot about agriculture. And that camera was critical as I, you know, continued on in my life when I moved back to the U.S. And became a new dad. I was doing my undergraduate at the University at UC Davis. 2000, I was just about to finish up my PhD. My wife and I had our first son, this cute little fellow who's now doing his graduate, actually he's doing his undergraduate in the UC system studying economics. Anyway, as I was using my camera to capture still images of him, video came around. That was in 2000. Bought my first camera. I was taking pictures of my son learning to walk. And I was also using it. I thought, why not also use it in my research? So I was studying these insects. These are called jumping plant lice and how they walk on leaves and what the resistance mechanism of the leaf is that allows only certain insects to walk on those leaves. And I thought, you know, for my final presentation of my PhD in 2000, why not use video to share some of my research? And so here's the foot of this insect. You can see all these little hairs. So I actually made my first video in 2000, and I showed it as I finished up my PhD presentation there at UC Davis in Wixon Hall. And my advisor, Steve Weinbaum, said, you know, Eric, you're talking about insects slipping on slippery surfaces. Why not add the song by Paul Simon, Slip Sliding Away? Now, people may not remember all the details of that presentation, but I know that they remember the song. They remember some of the excitement maybe they thought when they saw some of these insects walking there. That got me hooked. That was 5 years before YouTube was invented. Okay, 5 years prior to that. That video is not yet on YouTube, but I'm working on sort of reformatting it so it can get up there. Anyway, several years later, I'm here in Salinas working in organic vegetable production. I'm publishing papers like this on sweet alyssum intercropping with lettuce. And I write these nice papers, but the information's not getting out to farmers. How do we get it out there? Well, I thought, why not start using video for that? And so I made my first video, which, you know, I've got no training in video production. I have no training in science communication formally. Um, but this video, I went through it line by line, and lo and behold, several years later, 23,000 views. That's not bad for a biological control video. Um, Now the paper has gotten cited 28 times. It took a fair bit of work to put that video together, but I know the video has had a lot more impact than if I had not made the video. If I just shared it with just the paper approach. So, after several years of trying this and having some videos, do better than other ones, I decided to write about my experience and hopefully inspire change within my agency. I think within the USDA, we can do a much better job of communicating with farmers, of getting our information out there. And I think some of you might have seen this paper, but if you haven't, I encourage you to check it out. For me, it's all about these three things: bamboo, oil, and ice cream. The bamboo part is the efficiency part. That's efficiency, accessibility, versatility, flexibility. The oil part is all about energy, lubricating our science so it slides off the places, those halls of academia, into the farmer's hands, into the other stakeholders' hands, helping it to shine, adding flavor to it. Those are all characteristics of oil. And then the last is these storytelling. Now, I worked on ice cream beans, and that's why you'll have to read the paper about that, but why I call that the ice cream part. But for me, it's all very important. And I see, if we think about those last 100 years of change in science communication, I wasn't around during the magic lantern period. That was finishing up right as I was born in 1964. But I was around during the carousel times, the slide projectors. I was around as we switched to PowerPoint. And now I think one of the next big things is do-it-yourself science videos. And I think that's important because it allows us to connect all different areas of science, inspire, Jeff's talking about inspiring change, inspiring more diversity within STEM people. We need to inspire so that we have a much more inclusive approach to communicating science. And for me, that's what a lot of this slide shows. It was a fun paper to write. I hope you read it. And anyway, I don't want to take too much time, but I'm looking forward to dialoguing with you. I'm passionate about this, and I want to thank Jeff and the rest of you for giving me the opportunity to participate in this. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Eric. Douglas, do you want to add?
Let me stop sharing here, Jeff. Hang on just a minute.
Okay, that's good. Yeah.
There we go.
Thanks for inviting me to join this group, Jeff. I'm a little bit different, I think, than the others that are in this Zoom call today. I am the co-founder and director of an NGO called Lexicon of Sustainability, and we really focus on food and agriculture. The audience for our work is diverse. And while I've been a filmmaker for, it boggles my mind to say it, almost 40 years, I wouldn't think of myself as a filmmaker. The way that we work at the Lexicon is a very specific principle, which we would call total storytelling. And that is that you never know who your audience is, you never know where you're going to encounter them, and you never know what their receptivity is to what it is you're trying to share with them. So we are first and foremost platform agnostic. We don't make films. We go to a place and document what we see with the people that we're with, and then we translate it into a myriad number of forms. It could be written, could be in a book, it could be film, could be on a website, could be for a broadcaster. You never know, especially as we become more and more segmented as people in terms of how we view things. I'm not able to screen share. I'm not sure if you have to enable that.
Here, let me see. I'll get it. Yeah.
Yeah. So before I share some of the work that we've been talking about today, I thought I would quickly just run through like who we are at the Lexicon. Are you able to see my screen?
Yeah. Yeah.
So we work with all sorts of people. We work with everybody from government agencies and NGOs to broadcasters, to publishers. And the work we make, as I said, is platform agnostic. So it's really rich and varied. We do things like work on agrobiodiversity. This is our work with, that is now with the FAO. We basically created their platform for agrobiodiversity that will be released at their Congress later this year. The project's called Reawakened. We have an initiative that Jeff mentioned called Regen 1, which is one of our accelerators that is looking at how you would scale up a place-based model for regenerative agriculture. And it starts in Northern California, and Jeff's been very pivotal in that group. We've also created an international language for how you would graphically explain the food system. This gets to the platform agnostic part of what I was saying. You never know how you're going to have a chance to communicate with people. So we've created, working with Adobe, an international language that can explain what our food system is. And right now, designers in 90 countries are collaborating on that. That's part of an accelerator that we have created called Green, Brown, Blue, that's funded by Google, that looks at how you tackle some of the greatest challenges that we're facing in our food systems. In terms of the filmmaking work, we've done dozens of short films for PBS as part of a series called Know Your Food that explains what would otherwise be kind of complex concepts to consumers, everything from rotational grazing to how traceability works in fisheries, all of that done with short films. We also have an ongoing project we're doing on the Mississippi River called On the Crow, which examines what happens, what's happened to make the Mississippi like what it is. And what we did was we started at the headwaters of the Mississippi, traveled down to the very first tributary, which is the Crow, and have spent now 4 years documenting every single thing that goes into the Crow and what you would need to get it out. And part of that storytelling is using films. So, and I'll explain that really briefly. And then lastly, we created the Growing Organic program for NRCS, which is to educate farmers and ranchers. The Growing Organic program is interesting because it mixes filmmaking and photography and other types of storytelling. Our approach to filmmaking is really simple. We think that you have a higher likelihood of impacting people if you can show people that look just like them. So our work is really based on going to the places where people are and then helping to tell their stories. While we go to make those films, at the same time, we're also doing things like this. We're creating other types of artworks that explain these concepts. Again, really trying to focus on showing people in the field that look just like you, so that if we're talking about a change that we would maybe want to propose to you in terms of, let's say, with this program, transitioning to organic, that you see it's people just like you. But we're also really aware that there's other ways to do the story. So this would be how the story would work on social media. Literally taking screenshots from short films and turning them into ecards that can be shared on social media. Again, because you never know where you're going to find somebody. We also, this is our project, the Mississippi River. We also really are aware that often you have to go to the places where people are. They're not going to come to you. So in the case of this project, which is like I said, it's an ongoing, it'll be a 6 year project. the short films that we're now making, I'm just scrolling down to the end here, the traditional aspect ratio, obviously, but increasingly we're learning that you've got to make films and meet people where they are. And so in this case, making films that are square for Instagram. And so these films are all 60 seconds long, as you can see, the clock ticks here. And they are designed for short attention spans, which is what you see is the operant behavior on social media platforms. And increasingly, people are looking at these on their phones, so they're mobile. Also, when things are online, people often don't listen to the audio. They watch it. So you have to put all of the text on the screen so that if they're watching it silent like this, which is on Facebook, 80% of videos are watched with the sound off. It's an amazing factoid. So our films are platform agnostic, try to meet people where they are on the formats where they are. So it's kind of the fluency there. And then lastly, try to have the people in our stories that look like the change that we want to make. So as a quick overview, that's our approach to filmmaking. And increasingly, whether it's, GoPros or drones or other tools, we're very aware that we're competing with people's time and energy for attention. And so our work is always designed to meet people where they are, to be as succinct as possible, and to also be as expansive enough so that it can reach a wider audience. We're not doing the detailed work that Eric and Jeff are doing. We're more generalists trying to shift people's perspective as opposed to their behavior.
Wow. Listen, Douglas and Eric, fabulous. Thank you both very much there. This is, I hope we provided everyone with a concise summary here. Let me see if I can get, I just want to move to this last slide here if I can. What we all have wanted to do here, well, this might be harder than I think here. Okay, just a couple of things to prompt maybe the discussion here. In planning for this morning's meeting with you all, we had just a couple of ideas to start off here, and maybe we'll just throw those out and then I'll get rid of the share screen here. But just to start things off, we'd like to maybe encourage the creation of what Eric and I might call a community of practice or an affinity group. And this is something that I sent around to the A&R people a month ago, maybe, about, folks that are interested in using video more widely in their communications program. So that's an idea that we'd like to ask for your guidance and your participation and help there. Another question that Eric and I thought about a little bit is, where should the videos be posted? But really at this point, I'm going to stop, and so we can all see each other and open it up. What are your thoughts and any questions, or what would you like to discuss right now?
Jeff, there are a couple of questions.
Go ahead.
There are a couple of questions in the chat. Susan Morikawa asked you, when you were showing the videos on YouTube, especially the Dutch one, how did you make your videos searchable so people found them? Do you know how you got 111,000 hits on that video?
No, that's a very good, Linda, very good question. I have no idea, actually. And I'm not a model for how to do this. I need to learn a lot about connecting and publicizing. I didn't do anything. I finished it. I was glad it was done, and I moved on to something else. I didn't have time to do a lot of self-promotion, but I should probably learn that stuff. All those 100,000 were they just happened in 2 years. So I don't know. And that's maybe, forgive me for being lax and lackadaisical here, but I haven't taken the strategy or the time to do that myself, and that's maybe a fault.
Maybe Eric and Douglas can speak to that, how to get people to go and see your videos on YouTube.
Yeah, what do you both of you, what do you think?
Douglas, do you want to go first or me?
Well, so that's not what I have. People that are on our team that work on that, but I guess I'd say that you have to a video that you make, as Jeff pointed out, has a script, and then you film it. But we have found that each of those moments in the film can be compressed into something like on an e-card that I was showing you. And then the e-card you can put on social media, and then that can breadcrumb back to a video. Another thing is that when I did this project with PBS, they said, do we want to do as an on-air TV series or short films? And it's pretty obvious to me, on-air PBS is 55 plus. PBS online is the rest of the world. So we said, let's do it online. And I said, let's make them short films. And when we did it online as short films, I then explained to them that why should it only be on the PBS website? I explained it on the concept of promiscuous distribution, that they should put it everywhere. And so, because it would always breadcrumb back to PBS. So first, I would say e-cards are really valuable to push people to a YouTube video. And secondly, encourage people to put the link or the video embedded it on any website, because that's what promiscuous distribution is. You never know how you're going to find your audience. And you should always use your community as your distribution partners to get your work to a larger audience.
Very nice.
Eric, do you want to speak to that?
Yeah, no, I like the breadcrumb analogy there, Douglas. That's great. So, looking at views, when a person puts a fair bit of time into making a video, you want it to get viewed. But I also try not to get too stuck on how many views it gets, because sometimes a video gets clicked on just because it's got a great thumbnail and that it doesn't get viewed that long. So while the number of views is important, there's a lot of other analytics that you can look at to see how long they actually watched it. My most viral video is one on how to make a hoe out of recycled strapping used for pallets. Now, how that went viral, I mean, when I say viral, it's got like 200,000 views or something. Most of my other videos are less than 20,000 views, less than 10,000. I found people like to watch things where they're learning how to make something. And, people hands-on. I mean, that's a big driver in YouTube things. Somehow that video that I made was picked up by, I think it was the Tree Hugger site, and they promoted it. So, what Douglas was just saying about this, making your things able to be shared in a lot of platforms, that's critical. Because I didn't promote that video any differently than I did in my other ones. In fact, that video was not scripted. It was terrible audio. I mean, compared to some of my other ones, but it showed something that people were intrigued by. So it's hard to predict some of these things. Anyway, that's just a few thoughts. I always try to have a good thumbnail. That's critical. I always try to make sure I've got a good description of the video. I share it with a few friends. USDA does not promote my videos. I wish they would, but my agency's been somewhat slow to come around to seeing videos useful. Now they do. But it's hard to get, there's a lot of competition out there. In my longer videos, I try to put a clickable table of contents so that it makes it more user-friendly, and so that's one way to help people. That's in the video description. Anyway, those are just a few thoughts on that.
Go ahead.
Suzanne,
Any other ideas?
Suzanne, do you want to ask your question? Just unmute and ask it.
Which question about how they made it
About the
searchable?
e-cards?
Oh, I was wondering what software you use to make the e-cards, because they're gorgeous.
Are you on a Mac or a PC?
Mac.
Okay, so you take Keynote and you create a custom template for Keynote for like square or whatever the aspect ratio is. You go to the video, you take a screenshot, you drag it into Keynote, and then you start laying out blocks of, usually a block of color with a word on top of it means that it won't bleed into the video behind it. And you can literally take a script. If you had scripted a video, you can literally take we take every word in a video, every word, and we take every sentence, and then we find what happened on the screen at that sentence. We make a screenshot, we drop it into Keynote, we take the words literally from the script, copy paste them into Keynote, and then we have a template around it, and within 90 seconds you made an e-card.
I love it. They're
And they all
beautiful.
look exactly the same, and the great thing about that is you don't got to go to somebody to get approvals for the e-card now, because it's the words from the script, it's the video it's the shot from the video. So you don't have to go have a meeting to get all these approvals for it. And you're going to look like a genius because you've had continuity of brand, which is so important for people, right? You've eliminated an approval, have continuity of brand, and you're going to get something that looks just like the video that they're going to click to go to see.
So if it's
and one last thing I want to add to you, one last thing I want to add. As you can see in the background, the images we make, they're all crazy sizes. But
Yeah.
I once was at a place where a university professor asked me to come and speak, and before he showed my work on a big screen, with his projector, right? And all the images were all cattywampus, all different ways. And I thought, oh, you know what? Okay, I'm going to only make them 6:9, which is the basic aspect ratio of something on a screen. So all my e-cards going to be 6:9, so that if somebody's going to be in a meeting and they get pulled into a meeting, they can just show it. It'll look like a star, right? So
yes.
we did those for NRCS. We made all the videos and they ended up making a book out of the images. They ended up taking images, making pop-up shows for all 50 states because we standardized everything.
Mhm.
Everything was the continuity. We didn't have to go back to get approvals 9 times because it was just the same thing, reformatted depending upon your audience, right? So somebody's going to see it in a PowerPoint presentation. Somebody's going to see it on an e-card. Somebody's going to see it in a video. Somebody's going to see it in a book. Somebody's going to see it on a website. Somebody's going to see it in a pop-up show. It's the same assets that my whole thing is that, because we do a lot of travel, if I have to travel 2,000 miles, I'm not coming back. I'm going to go there once. So I have to think of every possible way this could be used. And we have to gather the assets in that way so that we can be very fluid. Somebody says, oh, I want to make a video. I need some footage for TV. Well, here you go. Oh, we want to put something in a book. Here you go. We want to put it on an e-card. Here you go. So that's how the e-cards I showed you worked. We literally just started making screen grabs and just taking the script and just dropping it in. You do one every 90 seconds.
You answered my question about the size, because to post on social media, to post on the website, to put the 6:9.
So they want to go square in social media, and you want to go 6:9 on Facebook. There's all these different rules about aspect ratios, right? And TikTok now, it's all portrait. So you have to make certain decisions. I remember, I was down in Costa Rica filming. I just got off the plane and I was immediately thrust into a place where they were processing breadfruit. And I had just got this amazing iPhone. I said, I'll shoot some stuff with the iPhone. And I went to start videotaping like that. And a young person in my crew walked over to me and he said, don't film in boomer mode. And he turned my phone like that, right? So I realized that, for the stuff that they were going to be doing on TikTok, I had to film everything like that, right? So you just have to be aware of thinking of all the different formats you're gonna, because you never know where it's gonna end up.
Are you promoting your videos on your personal social media accounts or the business accounts for the departments?
I usually try to get people to post our work on their sites, because we do so many different kinds of work. It would seem like we're crazy people. So instead, we try not to be a distribution platform, but we try to get everybody else. That's the concept of promiscuous distribution. I try to convince the people that they're going to be the distributor and give them all the work to put on their sites, because we're not really a brand. We're more like a behind the people Like, we don't sign our work. Yeah, we're trying to be behind the people who we're trying to put in the front. So, we work closely with social media things with our partners and help them to do that, right?
Right, right.
We don't want to be a destination site, is what I'm trying to say. We want to be a service provider.
Mhm.
Can I say one thing about where videos go? So I'm a big advocate, and I pointed this out in my paper, that I think videos that I make as a scientist should not go on my agency's YouTube channel. They need to go on my own YouTube channel. I'll tell you why. I think it's really critical that the videos that I make, or that other scientists or other extension people make, have a personal connection. And to do that, so in other words, when people make comments, I respond to those. If they're put into a huge USDA ARS website with 2,000 scientists, there's nothing personal there. Nobody responds. It does not work very well. And I believe very strongly that, you know, as long as there's guidelines for what and what not to do on those channels, I should have the responsibility to respond to those comments. I screen all my comments before they're put up there, you know, so that people can't put inappropriate things on there. But I respond to every single thing that is appropriate. And I think that's a far better way than to have my videos lost within this vast ocean at the USDA, which nobody ever responds to.
It's a super, super good point. And, you know, your work is so personal, Eric, that it would be really weird if that video was on a site where you couldn't actually talk to the person who's so personable. So, you know, I think it's a great point. It's the opposite of what we do, you know, but I think that for what you're explaining, I think it's really valuable. Jeff, I want to share something with your group.
Yeah.
You've got a lot of people that are on a call here talking about video use for storytelling in agriculture, right? So why aren't they all collaborating on doing a project together? Why aren't they collaborating on doing a storytelling project that can use the combined reach, combined expertise, and find something that they can do together that would have, you know, a multiplier impact and could probably create collaboration that otherwise wouldn't have happened, and leverage all of the ecosystems that you have to do something that would probably be seen and talked about. And for those who are not super, let's say, adept at storytelling, they will be by the end. And for those who are adept, then they're going to also learn other stuff that they didn't know, right? Everybody always learns. I learn something every day, right? So if the group was interested in doing something like that, I would certainly lend my time to that. The leading university in the world for food, for gastronomy, is Slow Foods University in Italy. It's in Palenzo, Italy. And they have a master's program in the communications of food. And every incoming student gets my course in something called Total Storytelling. And there are things that are in that course that we could do together that would create a collaborative narrative, you know, project that could be very interesting. I mean, I'm assuming people are interested because they're on this call. So if it's on a call just to be on a call, that's one thing. But if it's on a call to then figure out, you know, is there a there, then that would be an interesting journey that I would be willing to donate my time to.
Wow. Fabulous, Douglas. Listen, A&R folks, so what do you think? Any other comments? Or, I mean, there's a big offer there. We talked about maybe sustaining some of these ideas together, you know, as follow up there with what Douglas just offered very generously. What do you think there?
I think that's an amazing offer, and a really good next step for us might be to connect with Mark Bell, who's overseeing some of our efforts to increase the use of video in our extension work, and then, you know, come up with something cohesive that we think could work in terms of a collaboration, and then propose it back to you.
Awesome.
I'm open to other ideas too. That's just the first thing that came to mind for me, is that I would really want Mark Bell to be part of the conversation.
Well, that's wonderful. And Douglas, very generous there. Anybody else there? I mean, we can, the two things that we put on the table there, and Eric reinforced there before Douglas's offer there, you know, about the location of videos. I think there's something worth discussing there. And then how might we create this affinity group, or what might that look like? Linda, if you want to give that some more thought, and we would be, all three of us, I think, would be very happy to be part of that down the road there. Just my own thought on where videos, I actually regret the fact that I'm not as cohesive as Eric is. All of his are in one place there, and you know, he has the ability to oversee them, and mine are scattered all over in places that I don't even know. So I'm not really proud of that, but I think there's something to be talked about in that topic. Anybody else have any things they want to bring up here or ask Eric or Douglas?
I have a question. Sometimes we recommend to people that they put their video on our YouTube because we have 10,000 subscribers. What are the value of those subscribers in your opinion? Because Eric, you mentioned you don't put it on the USDA page, and they probably have subscribers.
You know, I'm not sure how much subscribers matter. Maybe they do. My video channel has 3,500 subscribers, but most of those subscribers are from one video, the one on how to make the hoe. When I put another video up there on biological control or science communication, I don't know that those other people go and watch that. So I'm not sure about that. If that really matters that much. Maybe it does, but I really don't know.
Can you put your channel link in the chat so we can go check it out? I want to see that whole video for sure.
Yeah, let me do that while I'm just trying it here. Let's see.
I really like the point you made about people being able to comment to the creator. That's a big deal, and that you actually get to see the comments. If I share somebody else's video to my site, do you, like if I shared your video to my site, would you see the comments made through my site?
You would, and so this is what's really critical. Just say Jeff and I and Douglas made a video together. We'd put that video on one site, and then we could have a playlist on the other site. So on Jeff's site, Jeff could have a playlist that links to my video. On the ANR website, you could have a playlist that links to the videos on Jeff's website. But that video is on one place only, and only one person is responsible for responding to comments. That's Jeff. Even if, so that's a sort of a way to organize the videos that a lot of people don't always realize is the USDA, what I've proposed for my agency is each of us scientists have our own YouTube channel, but then our agency has playlists on their main channel that link to all of our videos. And that's a great way to share it around.
And if I can say something, I've heard from young people who are YouTube consumers, they say that in order to increase more subscribers, you've got to, it's because YouTube success is content driven. So your first content about how to build, that spoke to a specific audience because they wanted that content. I bet if you continued with that how to build theme and created another video, you would increase your subscribership and build on that previous, and it would just continue to go up. But if your content is, you know, not consistent, then you see a sort of like dropping whatever. But you could easily build that if you continued with this how-to thing. because it's all content driven.
Yeah, I agree with that. I have 2 videos that are how to make things, and both of them were far more popular than I would have ever expected. The problem is I don't get too many brilliant ideas every day. So I'm somewhat
Yeah,
limited.
that's why you're not a full-time YouTuber, because it's very time consuming. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, can somebody else put my link in the chat there? Just go search for Brennan Organic on YouTube and it'll be in there. I'm not real good at staying focused and putting that on there at the same time.
Eric, I understand your frustration of not being able
Oh.
to reply to comments if it's posted on another YouTube channel. And that's so important for social media, especially if, I mean, it's your work, right? You want to be able to monitor that conversation.
It is, and I can't tell you how many times I've gone and made a comment on somebody else's video, including Jeff's, and Jeff didn't respond. And the reason he didn't respond is because it's on a channel that Jeff does not have the password for.
Exactly right, yeah.
And I made, you know, so what happens is when that happens, you feel like they don't care. And that's the worst thing to feel when you're interested in somebody else's, what they produce, that they don't care about me.
Right. When I found a comment dug deep into one of our social media accounts, it wasn't obvious, no one saw it. And when I finally did see it, just, you know, stumbled upon it, I saw that the comment or the question was posted 3 months ago. And I went into it and he or she posted a follow-up, basically saying, calling us several things because we never responded. And so I think we lost him as a fan.
Sure.
So, anyway, responding efficiently, correctly, and, you know, is really important, or people get disgusted in you. Yeah.
Especially for information content.
Exactly. They're like, why aren't you responding? And if you respond too late, they'll be like, well, it's a little too late. So people are really bitter out there if you don't do it correctly.
Yesterday, I spoke with another scientist who makes a lot of videos. Her name is Karen McKee. Has a site called The Scientist Videographer. And she said, you know, there may be certain situations where people don't want to allow comments, and I can understand those. That would be if the person's received a lot of offensive comments, racist comments. I've gotten some pretty negative comments sometimes on some of my videos where there were, you know, field workers, and there were assumptions they were not documented, and all kinds of nasty things. And I'm thankful that I don't allow comments to come up automatically. I have to approve the comment first. So I don't want other people to have to see that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So the comments go up, they're held until I approve them. And I think that's an important thing, because even on the USDA's channel, they don't actually do that. And so I've seen all kinds of inappropriate things, and I think, goodness, isn't anybody paying attention? It doesn't look good.
Yeah, it does not.
Well, listen, maybe A&R people, we just really want to thank you on behalf of Eric and Douglas and myself here. We thank you for the opportunity to talk with you all this morning. Lots of very good ideas came up out of this thing. A wonderful offer from Douglas, and an ongoing offer to collaborate and to be part of the community of like interest here, if anybody would like to continue that. So with that, maybe we'll adjourn here. And Jeanette and Pam, we thank you very much for inviting us. Okay. Thank you all very much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Is that all right?
Bye, everybody.
Thank you so
Thanks.
much.
Douglas and Eric, thanks you guys very much. Take care.
Actually,
We had a
Douglas,
chance to
Fantastic.
two of the true very
Fantastic
best here.
I was gonna ask-
I'll stop the recording here, but thanks everyone very much.